Hello and welcome to another episode of Be the Love to Awaken Our Souls. Thank you so much again for tuning in this week. I'm Stacy Musial.
And I am Brenda Carey. We are your co-hosts and souls on the journey. We are on a mission to raise the consciousness of humans and the planet, and we need your help. Please spread the word to your family and friends and join us every week. Consider becoming a Patreon supporter or a sponsor to help with the operating costs like editing and the many hours we spend creating these shows with quality guests and content. And if you have resonated with our mission, support us in a way that raises your vibration to love.
And if it feels safe for you, I'd like to invite you to begin to get centered with us. I'd like to begin by inviting you to take a beautiful cleansing breath in through your nose and out through your mouth, releasing anything that is keeping you from being present. And take another deep breath in through your nose, breathing in calm, peaceful, loving energy, and breathing out anything you are ready to release in this moment now. And take one more breath in through your nose, breathing in light and love for yourself. And imagine breathing that light and love and send it back to each person in your life and all of humanity, knowing and remembering that you always have your breath to come back to.
Hmm. I love starting every episode with that meditation. It just reminds me that I am a conscious creator. And in this episode, we are going to talk about our sovereign self and that we don't need to be fixed. We are not broken and that we don't need to be fixed. And I'm going to lead in with this with a story. So, a client that I am currently working with as a holistic and healer and coach, and I use a lot of ancient wisdom and modern science. I get many people that have tried the Western medicine route for a lot of conditions. It could be physical, like this one particular woman, she had been struggling with digestive issues and anxiety issues both. Did the whole Western medicine path, really didn't find any help with that. So she comes to me in our call, and she's basically just like, look, just tell me what to eat, tell me what to not eat, just fix me, use some of, the energy healing techniques on me and just make it happen. And I had to really break it to her and say, okay, first of all, I understand that she had a laundry list of symptoms. I mean, very long. And she had tried many, many things and she was very frustrated. I get that. Like, that's part of my personal story as well. I think I attract those people where we've tried a lot of things. Western and alternative didn't always work. And I had to be really upfront with her. And I said, okay, first of all, because you have these symptoms, yes, they are serious. I'm not trying to make them less than. However, you have to realize that these are messages and that you are not broken. And then I am not here to fix you. Look at these symptoms as an opportunity to really dive deep into your own healing. And oftentimes, issues like on the physical plane, like on our physical body, whether that's pain, whether that's digestive, the deeper root issues of those are mental emotional issues. And then even the deeper root issues of mental issues are oftentimes spiritual issues. So if we do not own our responsibility to not only our physical health and our mental emotional health, but also the health of our spirit, our capital C consciousness, healing will always evade us. So I'm really excited to have this deep dive conversation because Stacy and I got really lit up about this idea. We are not broken. And this is actually a path to our fullest expression of our spiritual self.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Thank you for that intro. I mean, this is such a powerful topic because, we are so conditioned, right, to look outside of ourselves, to, look at, whether or not we are, and this might not sit well with some people. And really, I want to invite you to really think about, this, or sit with it. Right. And if there's a defense coming in, sit with that. Where do you feel that in your body? And just recognize that, what is your truth? And could there be another way? But like, because this is so conditioned in our culture that we really have to start questioning everything, because we are being told and taught, to think outside of ourselves, that, if we, where some people maybe have been raised in the church, right? Which is, there's nothing wrong with that. And, how much of that is giving our power away to a higher power, to a source that is outside of ourselves, because we can, learn to work co-creatively with, sources. But when we're taught that this is like the power lies outside of us and we need to go, pray to somebody else, like a doctor or even a therapist, a coach, and so I have clients come into me, and they're like, here, fix me. I've got all this trauma. I've got this, depression, this anxiety, and or they just want medication, which I don't prescribe, but they, work with, prescribers that, they take antidepressants, and this antidepressant is not going to get rid of the depression because it's an energy, right? They have to move the energy. They have to work with the energy. They have to like learn to, handle or like build a relationship with their emotions and their, and their self and their, to become truly sovereign. And so, when we are taught to look outside of ourselves, that disempowers us. And you're, so true. Like we are not broken, right? I mean, I believe that we all are coming into this planet, with maybe we've, created this life plan that we, before we came here, and we're working with different souls on this planet to mirror back to us like what we need to heal. And, so we have chosen this life. So that's where, the sovereignty really started. We to recognize that we've had choice this whole time and we've chosen this life. And when we recognize that we have chosen this life, I mean, we get to step in and make a choice to heal, grow, and evolve and learn about this. Like our souls are here. We have chosen to be here at this time in this space. And, what better way to learn? So when we, pass on to the other side again, right, we can go in there and say, oh, look, I've like created this beautiful life. This is like, everything I learned and I grew. And now I get to go into the next life when I choose to and, recognize that, you're going to be able to carry those lessons from this life. And so why not just do it now?
Absolutely. I love how you said the word choose and choice about, I don't know, 80 times.
Yes.
But it's true. Like, and I think oftentimes we forget that. I know that I have. And keep in mind that we are all doing the best we can with what we know at this time. But there's always like you were mentioning, there is room to grow and evolve. And that, yes, that does mean at times making air quotes mistakes. They're not really mistakes. They're learning opportunities. But sometimes we get so sucked into the fear. And I mean, there is a laundry list of fears, right? Like, what if I do it, quote unquote, wrong? What if I fail? What if, this person doesn't approve of me? What if I'm disappointed? I mean, that's also a part of the human experience. Like we really sit with some of those deepest fears that we have and know that that is part of the the personal growth and the evolution of who we are meant to be, and we get to choose that. Oftentimes, I know people that come into my world, they're living life on autopilot, and I know they're doing the best they can with what they know at the time. And we start with simple things like, let's just be more mindful when we wake up and know that I have a choice. We all have choice to either, choose this direction for my day or this attitude for my day or not. And oftentimes, I think people feel a victim to that. I know at one point I did. I just thought, well, this is just the way the day is going to happen to me, as opposed to the day unfolds for me. And that's part of consciously choosing a different perspective. So my encouragement to listeners is be aware of whether you're like checking out like autopilot mode, or if you are sort of in this hidden, I wouldn't say it's always conscious, but in this hidden realm of like victim mentality, where you feel like life is happening to you as opposed to you get to be this conscious creator. And we step into that. And it's not easy. That means we definitely have to face fears. Absolutely. It's not easy, but we also get to enjoy the richness of being a light, not only to ourselves, but to others. And like you mentioned, it starts with not giving our power away to people, things that are outside of ourselves, and really taking that deep inner dive journey.
Yes. Well, I think, something you said really hit with me too, because like when we start showing up and consciously creating, then, we are, recognizing that, okay, then we can't blame others for things that go wrong, right? And
Yeah.
we truly, truly have to take responsibility, which is where our sovereignty comes in, right? When we can step in and take responsibility, not only for the things that, those quote, like, failures, right? Because they're not failures, right? They are learning opportunities, because what is failure? You get to learn, like, okay, this didn't work. This didn't like, feel just right, but, eventually it's going to happen. And so then you're stepping in and you're like, okay, well, I get to take responsibility for what's wrong, but then you also get to take responsibility for what's right. And those things
Mm-hmm.
that you're creating in your life, right? Because you're putting your intention, you're stepping into all of the things that, that you're trying to figure out, like, that you want to create in your life, right? And that is a process. Things don't just happen overnight. You have to, like, things unfold, just like the healing process. There's no destination, right? And so it's a process, it's an evolution. We're not here to, like, have, one thing and then that's it for the rest of our lives. We get to evolve with that, and that's part of, opening up the layers of our sovereignty. That's, the healing has layers, right? And so does the opening up to our sovereignty, and the levels that we get. And when we feel like, we're continuing to grow and rise above, we're continuing to evolve in a way that, you might not realize that you get to go like step by step. And when you think you've gotten to a certain place, and then another layer breaks free, and then you're through that next layer. And so it's just a continuation. And so we have to, like, really step into the trust in that
Mm,
process, right? And so
absolutely.
that's where, when we start taking responsibility, we can move up through the layers, rather than getting stuck in this energy that's going to keep us stuck in the same patterns, the same cycles, the same, like, shit that we've, like, always had, right? So if you keep doing the same stuff the way you've always done it, you're going to get the same results.
Exactly. But
And
it's interesting that people will do the same thing. And I did this at one point. I was doing the same things, but I was expecting a different result. And
yeah,
as we know, that's the definition of
of
insanity.
insanity.
Yeah. And we've all we've all done that. So
Yeah.
it's just a part of the human process of figuring out, oh, the reptilian brain has a place. Absolutely. It's meant to keep us safe. It's meant to keep us in a familiar state of being. However, if we really want to grow spiritually, if we are saying to ourselves, like, man, there's got to be more to life. There's got to be more just checking into a job that I really don't like all that much, or dealing with people that kind of push my buttons at times. When we get to that point, that to me is like a big red flashing light that says maybe life needs to look different. And maybe instead of blaming other people or other circumstances, it has to start with me.
Hmm.
And when we think about disempowerment, I think we need to get more clarity on this because I think a lot of people don't realize the ways in which disempowering energy can show up. So, an example, a client that I work with, highly empathic. She blames herself for things that are not even meant for her to take responsibility for. Basically, for other people's issues that she will then take on and then feel guilt and shame. And those are key, like kind of like key red flags to disempowerment. When we're in that shame cycle, or if we're feeling guilty over things that we have no control over, that can be very disempowering. What other things, Stacy, do you think show up as disempowerment that you see with your clients that's like maybe not overtly seem like it, but it's kind of more like underneath the surface disempowering?
Yeah, I mean, I think, there are yeah, well, I mean, guilt and shame is a big one, right? Because like we tend to give our power away to other people. We feel guilty for things that are not even ours. But also, things like mm, you know, when we go to a doctor and we, want them to give us something to fix, like, depression or anxiety or whatever, right? And not to say that, medications can't be helpful and they can help to a certain point and help get us over the hump. But when we like go and expect that pill to fix us or help us overcome this and we're not willing to do the work, that medication can actually end up suppressing the emotion. And so we're giving our power away to this pill rather than really stepping in and doing the work. But
Mm,
when we're ready to like really take ownership for our emotions and feel what's under the surface, we can totally, we can take our power back. We can like start to feel, and then we end up like moving through that and we end up learning from that,
oh yeah,
and so we can learn about that. And then it takes us to that next level, right? So, recognizing too that our emotions are there to like serve us.
absolutely.
It's, not going to um, benefit us from continuing to push those down, and that includes that guilt and shame. That's another thing that we've been taught, that we are inadequate, right? That we are not
Not enough.
not enough, right? We
Yeah,
like that shame, right? That shame is like, I am bad, right? And that is so embedded in our culture. And so when we feel like we're bad, then we're going to try to overcompensate and try to, we're either going to like, it's going to keep us stuck in that same cycle, this shame, guilt, like I must have done something bad, and this complete like unjustified energy of guilt. And so then, but recognizing that, when we can move through that and start to get to the other side of shame, by having self-compassion and self-love and like sitting with what that energy is really showing us, because that's like the lowest energetic on that spectrum of emotional energy, right? I mean, shame and guilt is at the very lowest energetic experience you can have. And so I think that we're taught that to be that energetic, energetically low because, you know, when we recognize how powerful we really are, and when we can truly, truly step into our magnetic, beautiful selves, we can truly manifest our greatest desires when we are willing to do the work and recognizing that we are truly, truly powerful. And
Mm,
that's, stepping over or moving through that energy,
right.
and doing the work within.
Yes, the work within, stepping into that powerful energy. And that's part of my story. I like how you brought up, oftentimes we do give our power away to other people or to medication. And let me be clear, for me, that medication was herbal supplements and, even plant medicines that people use. If we are not using those in an honoring way, they too, you know, become that outside source of trying to find ourselves externally. So I was just trying when I was at the height of my autoimmunity, I was in Western medicine didn't serve me. So I switched over. And this is back to the doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So I was treating, herbal supplements with the same energy, like just fix me. Just take care of the digestive and the anxiety issues. Just make this, supposedly perfect herbal supplement work. And what needed to happen was that deep dive work. And one of the best questions, I hated the question at the time, but I was seeing an energy healer. The best question she asked me, and she was in referencing into my digestive struggles, and she asked me, "How is this serving you?" And initially, because I wasn't in a space to receive that, I was like, "This is not serving me. Absolutely not. That's a crazy thought to think that it's even serving me." But when we think about it, our human design it truly is, it knows how to heal. It has its innate wisdom. And so when symptoms or diagnoses come in, that's the red flag. And that's a message that, hey, something's out of balance. Something needs to be worked on. And eventually this wasn't like an immediate, realization for me, but over months of doing some of that work and asking myself, okay, how is these symptoms, how is it serving me? And
Hmm.
honestly, it kept me small. And if
Hmm.
I was small, then I was safe. And that reptilian brain and the old conditioning that I had grown up with, like, don't be heard, you know, no one wants to hear what a shy, introvert, highly sensitive person wants to say. That was very embedded in me. And so that's how it was serving my lower self. So to break free from that, um, has truly been my evolution. And
Hmm.
it's one of the ways that I can speak out on a platform like
Hmm.
this podcast,
Hmm.
and be able to work with clients that have also worked with similar issues. Like we get to speak love and truth and light into this world, and then we raise the consciousness of humans and the planet.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. We get to, and recognizing that this is choice, right? And when we truly take the time to feel into our bodies, feel into our spirit, no matter where you're starting from, I've started, I've been through a lot of trauma, a lot of, a lot of a lot of stuff I've had to really step into and heal and shed the layers. That's why I can, both Brenda and I, that's why we can speak about this because we've been there. And, it's not an easy journey, but it is a journey. And recognizing that, we are our true sovereign selves and just recognizing that, that is the message that you get to begin shifting into, right? This outside of ourselves perspective, we're so used to that. But when you know, start making that shift from outside to within, you get to start taking control. And so you get to start shifting your energy and really stepping into your sovereignty. And so, empower yourself, really some, a few tips that we wanted to leave you with today, is to really, and take these in and I feel like these are probably things that you may have heard before, right? But what does it really mean? So I want to like invite you to just sit with this for a moment, open your heart center, and really, what does this mean? And where might I be giving away my power right now? Who am I giving my power away to? What am I giving my power away to, right? And so that really stops or starts with stop blaming others, or others and or what things that are outside of you, right? And so stop blaming that for, the problems in your life and start like recognizing that you are a mirror and you are the sovereignty. And where is that within yourself, right? And so owning your part and your responsibility in that, so own your responsibility, because the more you own your responsibility, you get to recognize that you are a part of this. But also, there's a balance there. And so, also releasing what is not yours. So, not taking the responsibility of others. And so, right, we find this balance. And oftentimes, in our culture, the scales have been tipped so far that, this black and white thinking is embedded in so many of our psyches that we have to recognize where is the balance here, right? What is mine and what is theirs? Because you don't need to take all of it on, but you do need to take your part in it. And so you can truly, truly heal and recognize that you're sovereign within this, and you can start the healing journey. You are on the journey. This is part of the journey of learning this energy shift and learning to really take responsibility and ownership of your own existence here on earth as you have chosen it.
And so it is.
So it is.
I'd love to close our episode with one of my absolute favorite quotes from Marianne Williamson before we hit the record button. This quote actually inspired this talk. So breathe it in, friends. She says, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous?"
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes. And thank you so much for listening to Be the Love podcast. If you have enjoyed listening to our show, please share the love by sharing it with your family and friends, giving us a 5-star written review on iTunes and Spotify, or liking us on Facebook. I am Brenda, Carey, and as a holistic healer, I offer coaching and online programs to guide people in their sacred path to vibrant health. My website is sacredpathyogaandreiki.com.
And I'm Stacy Musial. I'm a psychotherapist specializing in whole person, deep soul healing. You can find out more about my work, my book, and programs at awakenyourempoweredsoul.com. And please consider supporting our mission to awaken our souls with a monthly donation that helps us with the operating costs of this podcast so we can continue to spread the love. To contribute, visit our Patreon website at patreon.com/Be the Love podcast. And stay tuned for more episodes being released on Mondays at 5:55 a.m. Mountain Time.